Sanko boy policeman a come.
Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko licky love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko kissy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police a come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman a come.
Sanko chase the love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko chase the love up on the dam and the gala holla murder.
Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Sanko catchy love up on the dam and the gala holla murder. Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Bip bop police a come and the gala holla murder. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police a come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, policeman a come.
Sanko squeeze the love up on the dam and the gala holla.
All right. A pleasant good afternoon to everyone and welcome to Over to You. Again, I'm your host, Wayne Caesar. I want to thank everyone for giving myself and my guest, who's going to be on shortly, the pleasure of coming into your homes this Saturday afternoon. I hope everyone across Guyana and all those who are listening in the diaspora is doing very well and having a productive and happy weekend thus far. So, welcome to the show. We have a few topics on the agenda that myself and my co-host, Mr. Jason Benjamin, will be discussing shortly. I should have another guest in. I am not sure yet of that guest, but once we get clarification, that guest is going to be on. All right, so let's rock and roll. I'm going to just wait for the operator to get Jason in, and we're going to get moving. There's a lot happening in the news that happened in the news this week. I had the pleasure of having a sit down with Mr. Ben Chapper, Mr. Norton. A pleasure of being a part of that interview, which was, quite revealing. The leader of the opposition had a lot of information to share and divulge with our audience on the Straight Up Show earlier this week. And, there's so many other things happening in the news. Of course, the PPP continues, their reckless use of the monies belonging to the Guyanese people and taxpayers. We're going to address that a bit. The influx of the Venezuelans continue into Guyana. We're going to discuss that also. And we're going to touch a little bit on, GECOM. And we're going to touch a little bit on the voter registration process and where we are with that. So at any time, the operator is going to have my guests come in. But while we wait for that, please like the show and please place your comments. We love your comments. Your comments are very insightful and edifying also. When we talk of edification, it just doesn't come from what we see on the show, but it also comes from your comments, because many of times I do look and feed off of comments that I see, in the chat box. So please be involved. Let this be a two-way conversation. In the future, I would like to have the call-in feature, for this show to allow, our listeners and viewers to call in and for us to have, a nice dialogue, especially on a Saturday. I know many of you guys are sitting down relaxing and, the brain gets an opportunity to relax because most people don't work on Saturday. And to the extent you work, you are home at this time already and kind of like relaxing and rewinding for your weekend. So again, I want to just thank everybody, for having us come into your homes. And we're going to start addressing the issues that we're going to be addressing on this show shortly. I'm going to just wait for the operator again to bring in my guests. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to just start off by touching on the issue of the Venezuelans, you know, coming into Guyana, through a free and open, because that's the way it appears, you know, with our borders today, that it is free and open and porous. Everybody's just coming into our country, they're undocumented. And, I don't know where we are going to go, with this influx of Venezuelans. And right now it's saying that we have around 100,000 Venezuelans in Guyana at the present moment. Now, if we go back in history, we know that there's been a history of conflict, not direct fighting between Guyana and Venezuela, but there is a dispute, a border dispute between Guyana and Venezuela that has been going on for some time now. And to see that an influx of Venezuelans is allowed to come into Guyana, you know, is it's damning. It is damning. And to know that maybe a year or a few months ago, we had, some individuals from Haiti that was passing through Guyana. They weren't even settling in Guyana. They were merely using Guyana as a source to get to their final destination. And they were treated inhumanely by this installed regime. Now, mind you, Venezuela is not a part of CARICOM, but Haiti is. Haiti is a part of CARICOM. It should be visa-free travel for those individuals who are using Guyana, as part of, as part of their, journey to transfer to their final destination. It should be visa-free. They should be able to come and they should be an amount of days that they're able to stay in Guyana. Is there anyone who is limiting the amount of days that the Venezuelans can stay in Guyana? There is no one limiting that. But when the Haitians are passing through our country, we're treating them inhumanely. These are things that needs to be looked at. And if Venezuelans can come and settle in Guyana, then anyone can come and settle in Guyana if that's the way it's going to be. Not who the PPPC wants to settle in Guyana comes into the country and in the country. Oh, all right. I can see our operator have Mr. Lincoln Lewis. Mr. Lewis, good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, Wayne, and how are you doing?
I am doing very, very, very well. I know you have something that you really want to share with our audience this afternoon. So the floor is yours and you can go ahead and share with us.
Male washrooms. Somebody apparently last night took a hammer and lashed every single washroom in Critchlow. I don't know for what purpose, but as you can see, every washroom was destroyed. For some reason, this person is vandalizing Critchlow Every opportunity they get, they're destroying Critchlow stuff. We don't.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, can you please explain to our audience the location that was just videoed and what would have occurred?
Let me say to you, those are the washrooms of Critchlow Labour College. On Friday morning, when we arrived there for work, the first person arrived approximately 7:30. Around 7:30. They found that the washroom, both in male and female, all the toilets were vandalized. That's something where they were trying to loose out the toilets. They seem as if they took a hammer and they break every toilet in the block there. The student block, every toilet was broken. This caused us to we had to immediately suspend all activities around the college there that will require using those toilets. Um, this is not. This is the first time we have had such a situation where our toilets were broken. The toilets and the what you call the urinals, all were broken. Um, in the past, we have had our challenges. We have had challenges with funds to meet the running of classes and these type of things. But now while we have had those challenges, where our subvention was taken away, we were denied it. Um, Now somebody moved um, to destroy the important element to cause us that can cause us not to operate. In fact, is breaking up of the toilets. Um, we have not been able to get the toilets back in order. Um, I don't envisage we're going to be able to do it maybe over the weekend here, but we have to try as far as practicable if we are going to resume classes is to have all the toilets operable during the early part of next week, maybe by Monday, Tuesday time. These are serious challenges we have. We have challenges with we were trying, in fact, to do whatever maintenance we can do um, from time to time, as we may able to get a dollar or two from somewhere to do those type of things. But now this is a big task for us. It's a big challenge. We will have to make sure that we overcome it. But we are concerned. We are concerned about people coming into the institution, an institution that is there to deliver service to those who may not be very fortunate, and not more than that, those who may have fall through the crack at some point, um, and further those who will want to improve on their high school education for training and development. We also on that track of education, that should deliver what you call trade union and worker education. And worker education to us mean anything that can improve the capacity or the performance of an individual. So we deliver a number of other programs outside of trade union programs.
So, Mr. Lewis, have you ever seen, you know, have the university ever been or the college ever been vandalized before? Have you ever seen anything of this nature before, or this is the first instance?
We have seen people vandalizing things, but we have never seen an approach that is a structured approach like this. We have never seen it. Somebody may steal something, somebody may do a few things inside there, you know, but this here is targeted. All the toilets, all of them were destroyed. It seems as if the person came with maybe a hammer and just lash these toilets, all of them. We have never seen this before, never experienced it before. It is the first time.
Male washrooms. Somebody apparently last night took a hammer and lashed every single washroom in Critchlow. I don't know for what purpose, but as you can see, every washroom was destroyed. For some reason, this person is vandalizing Critchlow every opportunity they get. They're destroying Critchlow stuff. We don't know why, but they're getting it done. This is the male washroom.
To those individuals who would have seek to destroy the Critchlow Label College, the bathroom, both men and women, shame on you. This is an higher education institution, and such a thing should not, be occurring. But Mr. Lewis, this does not surprise me. When you have a government in place that education is not primary and education is not even secondary, education does not really exist to them. That's where you find things of this nature occurring. Mr. Lewis, have anybody, look and given an estimate to the price tag that it would probably cause the labor union, the Critchlow College, to get this repaired and fixed?
Yeah, it's about 400,000 dollars in the first instance, right, to get this thing going.
Okay. All right. We're gonna have to, to any business person or people out there, we need to have this fixed. We encourage you, to give a donation if you can. You can probably inbox Mr. Mark Benchop, Mr. Lewis directly, or you can even inbox myself. Mr. Lewis, I'm going to try my best to make a donation. This needs to be done. The students need to be showing up, and showing up to school and being able to have facilities, as they get their education, get their teaching. We need to have facilities in place to the extent they need to use the bathroom, you know. But we encourage you, to reach out to Mr. Lewis directly if you would like to make a donation, to have this fixed, and get this, repaired and done as soon as possible, so that school can resume. Because Mr. Lewis, I'm figuring that you guys would have to be closed down for a bit, or are you going to go, you know, business as usual?
We are closed. We are closed. We had to send away the students yesterday, Friday. We had to turn the student out. Those who came today for extra classes, we had to turn them out also. There's nothing that can be done for the question of as it relates to the student population, until such time that we this entire thing is returned to normalcy, where there are toilets. We can't run an operation, run an institution without toilets for the students. We can't run it, and these are this is one area that we talked to so the budget that we want to that we need to address it.
Okay. Mr. Lewis, have you guys ever seek to consider, because I'm seeing some comments here, Miss Chandel Griffith, she's asking, about possibly having a security guard present there to guard the premises. And also, I thought I saw another listener viewer also spoke in relation to having cameras.
Yeah, we have to do that. We have to put in cameras. It's something that a decision that we've taken. Those are things that we got to look at. Um, we have to improve all the lights around the entire complex. You know, we have to do. There are some things that we will have to do to repel the people from vandalizing the institution. So all those things, we have decided that, as I said earlier, that we will have to put cameras in place, and we have to do lights.
Okay. Yeah, because that would be needed in order to make sure, that the premises, you know, is secured, when you guys are not there. And of course, having a security guard, Mr. Lewis, that would cost some money there. So I don't know if you guys are subsidized in any way by the government, are you?
We are not subsidized by anybody. We don't get money for anything. What we do is that we raise our funds from internal, from programs and
Okay.
so on. Some of the programs we run them because we we have a service to deliver to society. Some of them you don't make any money on them, right? But let me say to you that what we have put in place also, we have beef up our security, um, and that will cost us another 200,000+ a month. For
Okay.
we have to protect this institution. We have to look at every way now to protect it. You know, you don't know what they will come with next, right? We don't know what they will come with next.
Okay. So, Mr. Lewis, we just want to thank you for coming on and informing the public, informing the Guyanese people as to what would have happened here. Again, the Critchlow Labor College has been vandalized, and the culprits are still out there. Mr. Lewis, is the police involved in this? Has this been reported?
But we have had thefts, we have had broken in before, and the police did nothing about them. We have reached the point where we are frustrated about, even dealing with the police, right? What we do, what we are doing is put mechanism in place to really address and repel these people who have over the years have been coming to vandalize. There are times they break the doors to the toilet. There are times they go inside there and they got the toilets. They meet to the point where they are now breaking it up, break up the toilets. And the breaking up of the toilets, we do not see it we do not see it as somebody want to steal something. This is not a thief. A thief ain't gonna break up what you want to carry away. This here is a targeted approach to do something on Critchlow.
Mr. Lewis,
And we have to look.
one of our listeners, viewers, he's saying here, is there an endowment fund where former students and other generous individuals or companies can donate to the college? Is there an
No,
endowment fund?
there's not an endowment fund. You're not an endowment fund.
Okay.
There are times we are prepared to listen to ideas coming from the general public and those who may have had the opportunity to benefit from Critchlow. There's a role for them to play in it. Those who are past students and so forth, those who from the wider community who believe that they can do something to keep Critchlow afloat. Um, there's a role for them. There's a place for everybody. Come with your ideas. Let me see how we can move it forward. Because Critchlow do not belong to any individual. Belong to the people. Belong to the workers, past, present, and potential. Past, present, and future workers. We have to. Those are the people which do belong, and to the society at large. Anybody can come to Critchlow. There's no discrimination. There's no way we want to stop anybody. We always believe in developing programs to meet the needs of the individuals.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Mr. Lewis. And you guys would have heard it. Critchlow Labor College is open to anyone. Okay. So, to the extent you guys have knowledge that you want to share or ideas that you want to share, please feel free to inbox Mr. Lincoln Lewis. All ideas, all donations are welcome at this time. Thank you so much for coming on, Mr. Lewis, and explaining to our listeners and viewers and to Guyana what would have occurred at the Critchlow Labor College. Again, the Critchlow Labor College was vandalized, and Mr. Lewis is just giving us an update as to where they are when it comes to repairs. And of course, there's no current investigation right now by the Guyana Police Force because, as he would have said, that they would have been this would have occurred where there's been theft, amongst other things, on the campus, and they would have reported it, and nothing ever came out of it. Or Guyana Police Force, a lot of times are not responsive. So thank you so much for coming on, Mr. Lewis, and keep us up to date as to what is happening in relation to this vandalism. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. There you heard it. Critchlow Labor College was vandalized.
The male washrooms, somebody apparently last night took a hammer and lashed every single washroom in Critchlow. I don't know for what purpose, but as you can see, every washroom was destroyed. For some reason, this person is vandalizing Critchlow every opportunity they get. They're destroying Critchlow stuff. We don't know why, but they're getting it done. This is the male. This is the female section, and this is what they've been doing. They're destroying all of Critchlow washrooms, lashing them up and breaking them. Nobody knows why they're doing this.
Host, Mr. Jason Benjamin. Jason, welcome to the show. How are you doing, sir?
So far, I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. Good evening to the audiences, and I'm currently down in the Gaza Strip, but mind you, I'm still committed to the cause for Guyana. I'm a true Guyanese patriot, and of course, I think Guyanese.
Okay, we seem to lost. Okay,
Yes,
Jason, continue.
right. Yeah, nonetheless, I'm here committed to the cause and will continue to go above and beyond. So, thank you for having me this evening.
Well, Jason, you would have just heard from Mr. Lincoln Lewis that the Critchlow Labor College was vandalized. In a quick word, can you give me your take, please, your thoughts?
In itself, when you look carefully at the video, especially to those areas that were damaged, you see clearly a motive, a presumptuous motive, one that really and truly begs the question why, knowing that that is an institution or a building which is considered a location for an institution to nurture Guyanese and to output them back into the country for useful development of our beautiful country. But lo and behold, we see even at this juncture, we see people who do not have a mind of their own, allowing themselves to be used as stooges to conduct or to carry out these kind of non-value adding activities. And that in itself is disgraceful, and they themselves should be ashamed. Of course, apparently they don't have no shame, but shame on them.
Thank you so much, Jason, for that. I just wanted to say something quickly to our listeners and viewers. If you would see that Jason have on a lighter shade of pink, and I do have on a darker shade of pink. We just wanted to dedicate this evening show to our female viewers. We know that the women they like pink, so we decided that we're gonna come on today and we're gonna wear pink just to make our female viewers very happy. So we hope that you guys are happy to see us in pink today, and we're dedicating this show um today to all
To
our
all
female
women. Yes,
listeners,
yes.
yes, and viewers. Okay. All right. So
Definitely.
Jason,
I just wanted
yeah,
to
go
add
ahead,
one
Jason. Go
thing that
ahead. Yes.
I do believe that our Guyanese folks, women especially, should be treated with the highest pedigree. However, watch Claudette sing. Thank you.
All right. Since you want to call Claudette Singh name, then why don't we just start off by talking about GCOM?
Well, in essence, if we look at what is unfolding in Guyana and at the rapid pace at which Guyana is decelerating with an installed regime, PPPC, of course, their most difficult challenge is to achieve proper planning, which prevents confusion as the PPPC. But unfortunately, they have a goal that they are unable to reach. So everything that they touch, we see it's bad. So to focus on GCOM would be taking the cart before the horse. And so I would first want to deal with how can we make it to GCOM? How can we make it to GCOM? And
I think I think we lost Jason there for a moment. Hopefully we'll get him back soon. But right now we're discussing GCOM.
I don't know what is unfolding, but apparently it seems as though elements of the corrupt signal. I don't know if you're hearing me. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, you seem to
Testing.
be breaking up a bit, Jason. So if you could just, kind of regurgitate what you're saying in relation to GCOM.
Right. No, I was saying that for us to focus on GCOM would be putting the cart before the horse. So I would first want to deal with the citizens of Guyana because GCOM focuses on a key element, which is the voters list. And in order for us to get that voters list, we have to get register, which brings into focus those people who are not registered. We know the state of the voters list. It is pampered, it is tampered with, but at the end of the day, we still have to get that part of the pie to make that difference, which is simply get register. Mind you, there is a closing date. I believe it's next month where the registration will be closed, stand to be corrected. But one of the things I'm appealing to the young people is to check. Ask your brother, ask your sister, are you registered? Are you registered? We need to go hook their hands by whatever good means and get them go out in groups and large numbers to register. Mind you, make a report to the police station. Of course, the police system is corrupt again, but let it be documented if there is any corrupt means of trying to stagger the system and GCOM staff not present when you are there and what's not. But at the end of the day, make every effort to get registered. Why? You don't want to sit on the nincompoop seat and be a look on or umpy dumpy because as we know, Umpy Dumpy had a great fall. And you don't want to know that you have the opportunity to be a part of the process of change and you're standing on the outside. So again, I appeal to you, Guyanese citizens, male and female, get registered. do so earliest. Thank you, Ian.
Uh, well said, Jason. You know, there's a saying with the lotto. You have to be in it to win it, right?
True
So
that.
if you wanna have a say in Guyana, you know, and you are of the age to go there and vote, I second Jason on that. Get yourself registered and be ready to vote. Listen, Jason, you know what? People don't work for the government. The government is put in place to work for the people, right?
True.
Powers is given to the government by the people. Okay? I think sometimes we tend to get this a bit wrong. You know, people think that government is high and mighty and government is powerful. But the people need to understand that that power stands with them, you know, and with that index finger that they're going to
Yes,
use for
yes,
voting. Go ahead.
you are correct in that. Guyanese brothers and sisters, all 6 races, now 7 races, the Douglas. Listen, the power lies with you. It lies with me. It lies with every right thinking Guyanese who would have been by birth. Mind you, there's another faction which I'll address later. But note, the power lies with you. We are the politicians' bosses. We, the people, will make that difference by getting registered, and so we can be at that position where we make our voices heard, and heard triumphantly with the use of the index finger. We'll vote this corrupt cabal out of office. We'll beat them by uniting and in unity vote with the use of our index finger.
Jason, yeah, I think you would have just kicked down a door there with me because when you talk about leadership, you talk about constituencies and you talk about the leaders of those constituencies. And I'm going to ask you the question. Don't you think that the MPs should be a part of this process, getting on the ground within their constituencies and encouraging young people and even older folks who have not registered or who are registered to just go and check to make sure that their names are there? Should the members of parliament be getting out on the ground and getting involved, seeing that the period for registration is going to be up, like you would have said, tentatively sometime next month? Over to you.
Yes, I do agree with you. An absolute yes to your question. Why? Because they too are accountable to us. And instead of taking photographs and all the photogenic moments, get down on the ground, boots on the ground. You, me, all of us can do it. But specifically to the MPs, members of parliament, they too should steer the wheel and make the difference. Every little bit counts. And like Martin Luther King says, the time is always right to do the right thing. So when the MPs commit to this process actively, then and only then we can see that momentum or the train moving in a direction that speaks to those who the politicians are accountable to, and that is we the people. Thank you.
Well said, Jason. Well said. And I agree with you there. You know, the politicians are accountable to the people and should be working for the people
No,
24/7.
I stand to be corrected, Win. They must be working for the people. There's no should be. There is a must be.
Must.
They are being paid to do that job. And if they do not conform with our likings as it relates to moving in a direction that speaks to a people-centered approach and getting the people the desired objectives achieved, then they're unfit for the process and should be removed. So again, an absolute yes to your question that the MPs need to do much more than what they are doing. Mind you, they have all of these other parties or the collated, these different groups. They have central executives too. They too are accountable to us because they are politicians. And I'm not only speaking of the ones on the front line, but those behind the scene that operate too. The central executive committees, they need to get up off of their gluteus maximus and not only pen in the newspaper, but also make that difference, show their presence. People do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. We got to meet the people on the ground. Why? Once we do that, they will, we the people, will commit to the cause by using our index finger to vote the corrupt miscreants, the PPPC regime, out of office come 2024 or 2025. They can do how much they want, but not as long as they want. They are accountable to us, and we, the people, will vote them out. Thank you.
All right, there you go, Mr. Benjamin. I can put that in summary. Basically, you're saying that it is mandatory that the MPs execute their mandate to the people by getting on the ground,
Yep.
empowering, edifying, and encouraging young people to go there, get registered to vote. And for those who are already registered, to go there still and check just to make sure that your name is there. You want to have an
Exactly.
opportunity to demonstrate your democratic right by
Yes.
voting in 2025. And Jason, look, there's a chance that, hey, I still think there's a chance that they can be a snap election and an election is called before 2025. There's that door is
Hence the
still open.
reason, we are calling on all Guyanese who are not registered, especially the age 14 to 18 gap. Ensure that you are a part of that process to make that significant change so that we can change the course we are currently going on by the corrupt PPP regime, which is down in the abyss. Every day, there is something more and more adding on, and it is causing economic hardship. It is causing even academic hardship. It is causing even social hardship and many other hardships. So it is important that you look around and see what is going on and know that you too can be a part of the process. So I urge all Guyanese to get involved in this process and do the right thing by going to get registered so that your voice will be heard by the use of your index finger. Which brings me to another point, GECOM. GECOM is corrupt. When I say it again, GECOM is corrupt. Imagine local government elections was held on June 12, 2023. And 4 months, 2 days to be exact, wicked, nefarious, dirty-minded Claudette Singh, GECOM chairwoman, on to this day cannot come forward to the public, which is a mandatory duty to give the final results. What do you
Mr.
say
Benjamin,
about that, Ken?
Mr. Benjamin, stick a pin right there. Now, I'm going to have a little dispute with you here now, sir. And I have a question for you. Because when we talk about GECOM, right, we have Charles Corbin, we have Desmond Trotman, and we have Vincent Alexander there. I have not heard anything from these three individuals, these three GECOM commissioners, for some time now. Um, can you give us some knowledge as to what's going on there with the lack of transparency?
Well, in truth, I would expect those three commissioners for the PNC to report to their leadership. Unfortunately, I have not heard anything forthcoming. But one thing to recognize, the system has to do its work, fine. But again, they too are accountable to us, the people. You understand? So we should not sit back idly by and allow these unforeseen circumstances to just go under the carpet. We need a report. We need a status update from both ends, from both the GECOM PR as well as from the PNC's commissioners as to what is the status, what is the update, what is the latest. No one knows what is going on, and everything seems to be like smooth sailing. Mind you, much more still needs to be done. But again, GECOM is corrupt.
All right. Well said, Mr. Benjamin. Again, guys, the word here is transparency, transparency, transparency. And we have been seeing a lack thereof of transparency across the board. And that really needs to change.
Exactly.
Jason, you're very emphatic, when you're talking about this voters registration and you're talking about GECOM. I wonder if you're trying to lead down the road here with the influx of Venezuelans that are coming into the country, and the fact now that we have about 100,000 Venezuelans in the country. Does that trouble you when it comes to the registration process and who is allowed to vote? Can you please?
It gives me nightmare. It gives me nightmare. But guess what? I am not scared of the nightmare because I know where to put the nightmare to its place. Again, practically and physically with the use of my index finger. Mind you, when we look at all the atrocities surrounding GECOM, we recognize a key element which the Guyanese society rely on, and that has to do with trust. All of these things coupled together, we clearly have a trust issue with the way GECOM is doing. If the general and regional elections are to be held in 2024 or 2025, well, we know one of the periods, but the question remains, why must we the people, why must we trust GECOM with a snake at the helm? A snake that moves silent, a snake that moves in the tweak of night to do ill means. Now we have the Venezuelan intrusion. We look into these papers and we see the Venezuelans are on our land, Anacoco, the portion of Guyana which they covet. But guess what? We will get it back with time. However, they stood on that area pointing to Guyana, the Essequibo area, and claiming that the sun is rising in the Essequibo side. Guess what? Not a blade of grass. And this is the problem we have when you have a corrupt cabal trying to siphon off some parts of sovereign Guyana to Venezuela, as well as going after projects, mind you, projects as a result of ways of getting money. You hear what they say? The love of money is the root of all evil. And here is where you see corruption in all forms unfolding or unleashing in Guyana. Back to the Venezuelans. The question remains, are these people documented? What happened to the immigration department? And as you look more and more and deeper into the situation, it even begs the question, hey, look what unfolded or is unfolding in Israel. As we would look, a similar thing. They were in
Well,
No alarm
Well,
unfolded. And here is where you know the rest of that story. But taking it back to Guyana, the Venezuelans are all over the place. You understand? The
Jason,
Venezuelans are,
Jason,
yes, sir.
Jason,
Yes,
stick a
sir.
pin there.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna pose this question to you because we're talking about 100,000 Venezuelans in Guyana spread around.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in the mix with those 100,000, because remember, when you have 100,000 people coming in, we do not have the resources to vet these people as they come in to Guyana. Okay, we can have military experts in there, we can have militants mix in there,
True.
right? Which would be, I would say, treasonous with what this government is doing, just allowing people to march, because it's very dangerous to the normal Guyanese citizen, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna pose this question: with the influx of Venezuelans into Guyana, is this a threat to national security
Well,
in Guyana? Should we
obviously,
look at it as a threat to national security in Guyana?
listen, I served my country for more than 16 years. And I can tell you, having one undocumented person is enough for a threat to national security. You take it like that. And to the wider society, having 100,000 plus Venezuelans, whether be it undocumented, whether be it what you call refugees or what, one of the things we got to look at, it's a political front and there is a security threat front. When you look at the political front, you see that the foolish government is allowing these things to happen for the sake of sacrificing Guyana and its people for the mere sake of vote baiting to gain more votes, as which you know with the use of the birth certificates. However, when you look at it from the people side, you recognize that the Venezuelans are in Guyana only in certain specific low paying jobs. And you and I know that those jobs anyone can pick up, they will take, all in which to situate themselves to gather intelligence and wait for that time to spring an ambush on the Guyanese people. If you look at the Guyana Defense Force, for instance, we have a chief of staff that is weak, piss poor, weak. You understand? In this day and age, you understand, much more needs to be done. While you may use some aspects of technology to take you a distance, the reality is on the ground decision takes precedence. So much information is forthcoming from the people who are on the ground, especially in those areas. Not only being robbed, not only with the gangs attacking them and so on, but you see, some of these activities are being perpetrated on them in the military style setting, which actually points to there must be presence of military personnel within the 100,000. And this is why proper documentation needs to be done to address the situation at hand. You're not hearing anything from the Guyana Defense Force. And I don't know if it is because the pathological liar Barra Jagdeo is influencing the process in which they have to stay silent. No, at this stage, it is a security threat. Anything can happen. Also, you're finding a lot of social distractions, even being displayed by the same Venezuelans who are occupying all parts of the land, the country. And note, they are not going outside of other than Georgetown to mere visit and do their thing. They are within the Essequibo region, the borderline. With everything is activity. Most of the activities are being conducted within the Essequibo segment. Recently, the women were complaining how the husband's not coming home and all these things. Prostitution is high. Prostitution is high in Guyana. Unemployment is spiraling. And while you find that the Venezuelans are rushing out from Venezuela, a country that is in turmoil, they are swapping up even the measly jobs that people
Well,
are trying.
well,
People are
Jason. Well, listen. Since you want to talk about jobs, you know, Barry Jagdeo would have came out, I think, earlier this week or sometime this week, indicating that the PPPC would have satisfied their mandate of creating 50,000 jobs.
my
You want to
that's a
elaborate? Have you
pathological
seen
liar.
50,000 jobs? Because I haven't even seen 5,000.
That's a
You
pathological
know,
liar.
I need a report that shows that. We need evidence. See, we just can't listen to stuff coming from Bar, as you said, from Bar Jagdeo's mouth because we know that he's a pathological liar. It is true. There's
Exactly.
no doubt about that. But your take on that?
Anything coming from Bharat Jagdeo, take it with a pinch of salt and then run with it to the fireside. Bharat Jagdeo is a total mess, a total waste, a total nincompoop for Guyana. Having so much wealth, all about greed, covetousness, and walking on his own people to stay on top of the wealth chain by any means necessary, you understand, speaks volume to the kind of person, you understand, he is. The truth about it is that Orphan Halley is unable to make any decision when it comes to the influence of Bharat Jagdeo. But at the end of the day, everything that you see is unfolding around you, it stops right at Bharat Jagdeo with the stooge Orphan Ali,
Thank
who
you,
carries
Jason.
out his mandate.
Thank
But
you. That's
again,
that.
just to answer your question, there is a national security threat with the influx of Venezuelans showing a physical presence in Guyana all over. Even our social systems are under scrutiny with the presence of some Venezuelans. Our children no longer walking, going to school, and can see a woman dressed properly. You're seeing them in all fashion, and they call it style, visual stimulation. So it is really a threat not only to the country as a whole, but our future generation.
Yeah, you know, and Jason, you said that, and I'm of the thinking, you know, Barry Jagdeo is of the opinion that if the PPPC, is not ruling or is not, the party empowering Guyana, then there must be no other party. So he's heading down the road where he's like, hey, it's either going to be the PPPC or it's going to be the Venezuelans, you know? And it just paints a picture, man. It paints a picture and it takes me all the way back, to the times when the Europeans was leading, you know, and the Afro Guyanese would have fought for emancipation. I still feel, Jason, that there's a bitter taste there, and there's something that's saying Afro Guyanese must never be allowed to lead. But anybody could lead. You just have to be a good leader. You just have to be able to execute the mandate of the people. You got to understand the role, that you're there to serve the people. And Jason, looking at time, Jason, I would have loved to elaborate a little bit more, but I think our time is up. Sometimes this time goes by so
Yes.
quick, man, and we just have so much, to put out. But we're gonna continue, on our topics next week. But before I even go, and we close off, I would just like to have a closing remark from you.
Well, I would say, I would like to say to the people that one of the things that we have in Guyana currently is a leadership crisis. A leadership crisis in the way where we, the people, would like to see a leader that has conviction, a leader that is committed to the cause, a leader that focuses on the people. A leader that stands with the people, by the people, for the people, by all means necessary. And at this juncture, it is important to recognize that the politicians, we are not accountable to the politicians, but the politicians are accountable to us. We are their bosses. And this is why when we want to strike the whip, we have to get registered. So I use this opportunity to remind us, for those who are not registered, use the time wisely to go to GECOM and get registered. Use your index finger. And more so, in all thy getting, get understanding. The corrupt PPP has to go. In order for Guyana to grow, the corrupt PPP must be voted out with the use of our index finger. Thank you.
Well said, Jason. Very much well said. And listen, I would just like to close off by saying to everyone, thank you so much for joining. I noticed also in a report, I would have seen that there was an incident with a garbage truck running off the road and into a trench, killing one individual. We have to be very careful as we traverse the highways and byways across Guyana. I say to everyone who is viewing this program, wherever you're going, even if you're in the United States, take your time. You don't have to go, you know, you don't have to speed to get to your destination fast. You want to drive, be careful, and get to your destination safely. So, as we traverse the highways and byways, let's not just drive for ourselves, but drive for others. Be alert. Do not drink and drive. Okay? Everyone, have a blessed remainder of the weekend. Jason, thank you for coming on, sir. Thank you for edifying the people. Have a good weekend, everyone. And again, this program was brought to you compliments of Mark Benchap on immigration consultancy and immigration law. If you have any immigration needs, please reach out to Mr. Mark Benchap. He will be there to help you. Again, don't be shy. This program was also brought to you compliments of Linders. When you want your Caribbean food and you want your pastries and stuff, you just stop by Linders. It is located on Church Avenue between 53rd and 54th. All right. Okay. So thank you guys and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Also, program is brought to you compliments of Exquisite Hair Palace. Exquisite Hair Palace is also located on Church Avenue between 53rd and 54th. For the ladies, you want to go out and get your hair done, your nails done, and everything, just stop by Exquisite. For the men, you want a nice shape up and haircut, stop by Exquisite. This is an establishment owned by Mr. Clive Fraser. It's a family business, and we encourage you to support them. Again, thank you for watching. Over to you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye, everyone.
You better run. Sanko boy, police are come. Sanko boy, you better run. Sanko boy, police will come. Sanko, you better run. Sanko.